Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another installment of Scott's Selections here for Friday, September 6th. Before we get into today's play of the day, we'll quickly recap what happened yesterday. We picked up a winner in the Packers and Bears game as we ended up giving out Aaron Rodgers no interceptions, which was available at minus 125 on Bovada. Game was, how do I put this? The game was terrible. I said going in yesterday's video, I had no interest in actually betting a side on the game. I thought the Packers would win, but at the same point, I really didn't feel confident on either side. So, how's it going? Welcome back, CR. Nice to see you again. Overall, definitely the type of game that I'm glad I didn't have money on a side with. Rodgers, he got concerned a little bit with the Hail Mary at the end of the first half, but overall, he was pretty much in no danger of throwing an interception for the entire game, and we were able to coast as the Packers ended up winning a very exciting game, which I'm being sarcastic about, of 10-3. Trubisky is something else, and if you had money on the Bears, good luck with betting on Trubisky in the rest of the season. I had the Bears personally handicapped to roughly 7-9 for a record this season because I really think that their offense is that bad, and that was proven yesterday. However, I do think the Packers are overrated moving forward. Yes, their defense was good, but they also played against one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, in my opinion. So I'm not really going to read much into it, but we ended up winning on the play of the day. And now it is Friday, so we will be diving into the college football card. And there is one game in particular that we will be talking about as the play of the day. And it will be on a matchup between the Wake Forest Demon Deacons and the Rice Owls. And that game should be taking place at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. In terms of this game, Rice is at home. They are a huge underdog at roughly 19.5 points. And we will be taking the road favorite here. We will be siding with the Wake Forest Demon Deacons at minus 19.5, which is available at Heritage at minus 105. Now, the main reason why we like Wake Forest in this spot, simply put, we just think Wake Forest's offense is significantly better than Rice's offense, and we think that Rice's defense was a little bit inflated after they had roughly 3 weeks to prepare for an Army triple option team that had pretty much an entirely new offensive line. The triple option is pretty much impossible to prepare for just for most college teams. However, it's a lot easier to prepare for them when you have like 3 to 4 months to game plan as opposed to 1 week. The problem that Rice is going to run into is that they play it against a triple option team. Now they have to face off against a Wake Forest team that plays very up-tempo, will chuck the ball 40-something times a game, and they only have about 1 week to prepare for that. At the same point, Wake Forest, they pulled off a throwing 3-point victory at home against the Utah State Aggies. And if you don't know about Utah State, very underrated team. Jordan Love, pretty solid quarterback. Wake Forest forced 3 turnovers. The issues that I have and Jamie Newman as a Wake Forest quarterback is fantastic, and I think that he will play well once again in this one. The issue that Rice has here is simply the fact that they cannot throw the ball. If you look at how Rice performed against Army, yes, I know that their possessions were limited because of the triple option offense eating up a ton of clock. However, Rice, there was only one player on offense who I thought was worth a damn in the first game of the season, and that was Nashawn Ellerby, who had 9 carries for 103 yards and a touchdown. However, he is actually the backup running back, and Aston Walter is the starting running back who had 18 carries for 72 yards. Their starting quarterback, though, Wiley Green, is one of the worst quarterbacks in all of D1. First game against Army in the regular season, 7 for 14, 62 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, a QBR rating of 4.9. Needless to say, this guy stinks. And I definitely think that Wake Forest with Newman, especially after he was able to torch Utah State's underrated defense for 38 points, I think that Wake Forest should score at least 40 in this one. I think that Rice's offense will struggle to move the ball. I do think that Rice will eat up the clock with some of their possessions because they like to run the ball. So I'm a little bit concerned about potentially taking a full game over here. However, I definitely think that Wake Forest should score at least 40. I think Rice should be somewhere in the realm of 10 to 17, give or take. And I think Wake Forest should win this game by at least 3 touchdowns. I think that Newman's too good. One thing you have to keep in mind also is that the one issue you have usually in college or any sport in general is when you're taking a double-digit favorite, a decent-sized double-digit favorite, you always are concerned about the backdoor cover and potentially going up 20-something, and then the team you bet on brings in all the scrubs and then everything falls apart because the scrubs aren't any good. It is worth mentioning that Wake Forest backup quarterback Sam Hartman was actually the starting quarterback last season for about more than half the season. So even if Newman gets benched hypothetically or gets taken out because they're up by a ton, they're up 24 or so, and they end up benching Newman, and they bring in Hartman. Hartman was a starter, and he was actually very solid last season before Newman took over. So I definitely have faith in him in relief if it comes to that in the fourth quarter. I think Hartman can easily throw a touchdown or two to help keep the lead at 20-something points or so. So overall, I simply just think that Rice benefited a lot from the matchup they had week 1 against Army with a brand new offensive line for them. And I definitely think that Wake Forest will come out and just lay the wood on them. So the play of the day for Friday, September 6th, will be on Wake Forest minus 19.5, which is available at minus 105 on Heritage. Now, in terms of the other leans on today's card, lean to Boise State minus 12. Line's a little bit high for me, but at the same point, after Boise State's thrilling comeback last week against Florida State, they now return home to the Smurf turf. Yes, Marshall did look really good in the first week of the season. However, they played VMI, so if you really are buying into them beating a below average FCS team, then I guess, whatever. I do think that Isaiah Green's a pretty solid quarterback, but at the same point, I definitely think that Boise State at home will be rocking in Idaho on Friday, and I definitely think Boise should win this game by at least 2 touchdowns. So I'll lean to Boise State on that one. Other than that, though, the baseball leans yesterday also worked out pretty well. My main lean was on the Cubs yesterday, beating the Brewers. Must-win games for the Brewers must-win games for teams generally mean a decent amount. However, the Brewers have proven time and time again they choke under any sense of pressure, and the Cubs are still trying to keep pace with the Cardinals. Once again, lean to the Cubs here, minus 115 on 5 dimes with Hamels versus Davies. I don't care who's pitching. The Brewers are a bunch of choke artists. I don't really care. And I definitely think the Cubs, after scoring double-digit runs yesterday, should look to get to Davies early. And I think Hamels will pitch well. So lean to the Cubs once again on that one. Other than that, looking at the rest of the card, lean to the – what am I going to lean to? Lean to the over 9 between Toronto and Tampa Bay. McKay was sent down to the minors after pretty much being an abysmal starting pitcher in the majors. Had a serious issue with his controls. He walked a ton of batters in a limited sample size. And Clay Buchholz has been dealing with some injuries all season long. Are both offenses that great? Not necessarily. Tampa's offense is decent. Toronto's offense has the potential to be good, but has been struggling lately. But at the same point, Buchholz is off an injury layoff, and McKay just got recalled from the minors after pretty much having a less than ideal stint in the majors I'd say in the past month or so. So based on that, I definitely think this total is a little bit too low. Plus, Toronto's bullpen's not great either. Lean to the over 9 in that one. And other than that, don't really have many other thoughts in terms of today's card. But the play of that, as I said before, will be on the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, minus 19.5, which is available at minus 105 on Heritage. Other than that, though, quick reminder of our sponsor, PointsBet, All-In Sportsbook in New Jersey. A couple of great deals for you. Up to 2 risk-free bets up to $1,000. So if you end up betting on any sports and end up losing, you simply get your money back, which is a great promotion that I wish more sportsbooks would use. Other than that, though, that's going to do it for this installment of Scott's Selections here for Friday, September 6th. And good luck to all of you and your respective bets today. Bye, everyone.